Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today's June 22nd, and right now we are looking at the visible satellite imagery. California largely cloud-free right now, but I'm going to back up towards yesterday, and we had a cluster of thunderstorms. It did pop up on this frontal system. We talked about that precip yesterday morning, but it did pop up a bit more than was anticipated. You can see those cumulus clouds popping off near Lake Tahoe, brought a couple rounds of thunderstorms there. Then we just go through the overnight hours, and there we are right here. So a little bit of a closer look here. I'm going to back up and scroll through what happened yesterday. You see the cumulus clouds starting to build through the afternoon hours. You can see plentiful lightning associated with that storm. And again, there's Lake Tahoe right there. There's the Bay Area to the left. And if we push off in towards the afternoon hours, look at this right there. That is an outflow boundary from that cluster of thunderstorms moving off to the west there. So interesting seeing that on the visible satellite imagery. I scroll back and forth, toggling back and forth. And again, you see the outflow boundary as that complex of storms died, and then those clouds moved off to the east. But yeah, here we are this morning, largely cloud-free right now, but we do have the potential for some more thunderstorm activity over the next few days. We'll take a look at that in some detail as well. There's Southern California, just kind of showing you the marine there, bobbing and weaving about out there also. Now, the lightning strikes, again, you can see that near Lake Tahoe and across some portions of northwest Nevada. And if you want your own affordable home weather station, which just happens to record lightning strikes, this is the one to get, especially for the price. It does well, especially compared to some much more expensive weather stations. You will not regret buying that one. Click on the link down below to save 10%. Red flag warning is wrapping up today, but just because they dropped the red flag warning doesn't mean there still isn't going to be some fire risk out there. So just kind of keep your wits about you. Here's the European. So let's take a look at what is to come today. So we scroll through the date and you see some of these showers again just south of Lake Tahoe there. Watch out for that. Could get a lightning strike or two associated with some of that activity. And then as we go through Monday, probably a little bit better coverage here across the Sierra Nevada. You can see it again just off to the west of Lake Tahoe there. Watch out for that lightning activity as we go through the afternoon hours, and it kind of stretches down towards the central Sierra Nevada as well. And we scroll into the overnight hours, that thunderstorm activity wanes and decreases. We go through Tuesday, and you guessed it again, you can kind of see some of those showers popping off across the Sierra Nevada. Again, Tuesday afternoon, let's go all the way on and through Wednesday and see what it shows, and not much. I don't think it shows anything in the way of precipitation. So we're looking at today, Monday, and Tuesday for that thunderstorm threat. Now, the high-resolution rapid refresh doesn't show much for today as far as lightning potential, but as we go through the day on Monday, you can see that popping off. So a little bit better coverage on the day Monday. We do have that lightning potential showing up in some of the high resolution models as well. Now, North American model, 3-kilometer high resolution, also does show some of these showers popping off today, and I wouldn't rule out a lightning strike or two with some of that. And then again, as we go on in through Monday, you can see the coverage increases, and then we'll go all the way on in through Tuesday as well. Let's see what it shows. A few showers popping off there, maybe a couple of thunderstorms. Now, taking a wider view of things here, there's the Hawaiian Islands to the bottom left, state of California there, 500 millibar height. So you put this into motion, and this troughing kind of hanging around here. But again, these don't really produce much precipitation at this time of year. And what I want to show you here is right towards the end of the run, we start to build this ridge. As a trough, this kind of weak trough moving through the Pacific Northwest. This ridge tries to build in here towards the west coast of North America. It tries to warm us up a bit here. So we'll look at those temperatures here in a moment. Now, if we look at a surface pressure map, this is that Pacific high, a semi-permanent feature, especially during the summer months. There's the Hawaiian Islands. There's the state of California. So if you notice anything here, as I scroll through the 144-hour time frame, that Pacific high, it changes in strength, and it can kind of change shapes and move around. But for the most part, it is very persistent at this time of year. And as we warm up the land during the afternoon hours here across a lot of the southwest, you get a lower pressure system that sets up here, or it's just lower pressure generally speaking. So that's why when we go through the afternoon, evening hours and to some of the early nighttime hours, we have those stronger northwest winds across the region because you get the lower pressure, higher pressure there. You increase that pressure gradient, which of course is out of the north and northwest. So that's why this persistent wind down the California, Oregon coastline here, and sometimes the Washington coastline as we go through the summer months. If you ever go out to the coastline there, you can see how some of the trees are just carved out to the north because this wind is so darn right persistent. If we take a look at that, there's the Pacific Pacific high again. We're looking at mean sea level pressure in the black lines, and you can see about 2,500 feet. These are the winds out of the north. And I've scrolled through here. I'm just going to scroll through here really quick. You can see the persistent northerly wind and the Pacific high just churning like some big gear in a machine out over the Pacific Ocean. And again, when you drop, you raise these temperatures at the daytime heating, you bring that lower pressure. It creates lower pressure. And again, you increase that gradient. That's why the winds do pick up in the afternoon and evening hours here across much of the state. So artificial intelligence, this goes a little bit further off into the future, and I wanted to show you that ridge that comes in through this next weekend, and you can kind of see that building along the west coast of North America. That could be warming us up a bit more dramatically as we go on in through next weekend. I'll show you the temperatures on that here in a moment. But then look at this trough here that wants to show up in the 10-plus day time period. Take that with a grain of salt, just a fantasy forecast right now, but a very interesting trough there. But still, even at this time of year, this wouldn't bring a lot of precipitation. It would, however, suppress the temperatures here across much of the west coast, no doubt, and it would bring precipitation across the Pacific Northwest more versus California. Now, if we take a look at that, the same thing here. I'm going to scroll all the way out to the extended forecast, and you can kind of see the trough shaping up here, but really not a lot of precipitation for California. Even that anomalous-looking upper-level low moves across the region. You can see a tropical system getting caught up into that monsoon flow towards the desert southwest as well. Now, daily 2-meter maximum temperature Sunday, June 22nd. It's not July yet. And look at today, Sunday. So we're going to bounce those temperatures up, almost 10 degrees for a lot of locations tomorrow. There's Tuesday, Wednesday. We're going to keep these temperatures a bit elevated, but watch this as we go to towards next week. And Saturday, Sunday, look at hundreds widespread across a lot of valley areas. The desert's really ramping the temperatures back up. Southern California getting quite warm, especially away from the coastal areas. There's Monday, Tuesday, and we kind of keep those temperatures elevated as we go in towards the early portion of July. 6 to 10 day kind of reflects that as well. It should be no surprise with what we just looked at. There's a 6 to 10 day precipitation there. Also some near normal and below normal here, which admittedly so is not that much precipitation. But anyway, eyes on the sky again across the Sierra Nevada the next few days. Let me know what you guys are seeing out there. Check out the Patreon page. That link is also in the link down below, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.